Welcome in, everybody. Another edition of Lunch with Legends. We've really enjoyed our first several visits. Today, I get they definitely qualify as Troy legends. Ashley, Beverly, Kelley, Caitlyn, Ramirez, Troy women's basketball. Ladies, how you doing?
We're doing just fine.
How about you, Caitlyn?
I've been doing great.
What has it been like? First of all, Ashley and Caitlyn, both of you are joining us from Troy. Both of you have been staying busy, I know for sure. Ashley, first of all, let's start with you. Catch us up a little bit. Since your career at Troy, you've been busy. What have you been up to, especially lately?
Well, when I graduated from Troy, I left and I went to go play in Israel. I played there from October to I think April. And then the next year, I went to France. I played in Limoges, France. And then after that year, I was still in France, but I went to a team called Ronis Basket Feminine. And then I recently just left there May, because of the coronavirus and stuff. Our season got cut short. And also, when I come home, I have my own training business. So it's called Love Handles Basketball Training, and we go to different schools. We go to different locations like Dothan, the Birmingham area, Geneva. Do you know where Geneva is?
Absolutely.
Yep,
We're big in Geneva.
Yeah, Geneva, Sampson, all over really in the Wiregrass, and we train from ages 4 on up.
I want to talk about that in just a little while because that has really been blossoming. Now, Caitlyn, since you finished up at Troy, you and I have worked together doing some television covering women's basketball on ESPN Plus. But when your career was over, you were able, not only your undergraduate degree at Troy, your master's degree at Troy. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct. I graduated with my bachelor's from Troy in 2016, and then exactly a year later, in 2017, I was able to graduate with my master's degree. Completely, I am truly, truly blessed by Troy University to give me that ability to do so. After I was on a bind. Coach Graff kind of pushed me to go towards my master's degree because I just want to do a double major, but I'm super, super grateful for Coach Graff to push me and allow me to get my master's degree. Once when I graduated in 17, Coach Neal and I worked together, put a highlight film together. I was able to go overseas and play in Spain. I played in Liceo, Spain for a long 8 months. So it was really and I took advantage of them sleeper buses provided by Troy because there are no we traveled about 17 hours just on a charter bus because Spain is massive and it is huge. So it was fun. I played in Spain for 8 months, came back, spent a lot of time with family because I didn't get to spend Christmas or Thanksgiving or anything like that. So was fortunate enough to spend time with family. I think I worked with ABK a little bit over the summertime as well. So we traveled, went to different schools, helped out with her training business. Then it came time again for season to start picking up. Then the second year, I took advantage of the opportunity of traveling the world for free because, again, basketball was, it was a job. And so I wanted to go play in Israel, change up the scenery a little bit. So I went to Israel, and I believe in late August. I stayed there till probably about November. Ended up having an injury there. And, if you're not healthy, they don't want you. So that's kind of what happened. So I came back and I was just like, I got to be a little bit more consistency. And that's whenever I kind of just ended my basketball career at that point.
And now you are?
And now I'm an Alabama State trooper here in the state of Alabama.
That's a legacy for you, isn't it, Caitlyn?
It is. It's been a long time coming with it. It took a 6-month hiring process. I knew I always wanted to do that from the time I was 8 years old. My dad was in law enforcement, so he was only on the line for about 5 years. And, you don't just get in it for 5 years. And then he ended up passing away on the line of duty. So that's whenever I knew I wanted to pick up exactly where he left off. And that's what I'm doing now. I think of him every time I put my uniform on.
What has the European experience. What has that meant for each of you? First of all, ABK.
Well, for one, it is truly a blessing because not everybody is able to go straight from college and play overseas. You get to learn the different cultures, learn different languages, and adapt to different environments from what you're used to, and take back from, like, you get to take what you learn in the States, bring it to Europe, and just grow from there. And I've enjoyed it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, especially with me training as well, having my own business. So now the club that I'm in now, on Mondays they allow me to work with the little kids, and I just love it because it's like I never miss being home. I mean, I'm never homesick, I would say that, because
Yeah.
I'm doing what I would be doing home there.
Caitlin, does that resonate with you? The European
Oh,
experience
most
that you had?
definitely. ABK and I were really big on wanting to give back, so that was something that we've always done. Even whenever I worked with her, I noticed the connection she has with the little kids whenever we trained together. And whenever I took that with me, my first year in Spain, I worked with little kids as well. I actually got to be a coach for the younger group that we had. And I, they looked at me like I was crazy because I didn't speak the same language as they did, but it was a blast to be able to connect with the little kids. Until this day, I still talk with the little kids, and they still reach
Hmm.
out through Instagram and Facebook, and they just want to, it. I'm so thankful for Google Translate because that's actually how we talk.
Yeah.
Because they have but they learn English. Like, it's a universal language that they're trying to learn. And I even got into the point where I was babysitting some of the kids on the basketball team because they were taking English classes and they needed help. So I was kind of like a tutor, basketball coach, along the way to help them. And it was an absolute blessing. And like ABK said, not everybody's fortunate enough to leave college and go play basketball overseas. Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of crazy to think about it. When you play European basketball, you're only allowed a certain amount of U.S. citizens to be on the team. And when I was in
Hmm.
Spain, I was very fortunate enough. At the time, there's only two, so I'm only this first, second pick, however you want. I would go with first pick. Sounds better to
Yeah.
be on a European team. So there's only two Americans allowed, and I was one of the two to be played on a Spain Division I league, and I'm super, super blessed by that because that's an opportunity you never want to pass up.
This is so interesting, especially for those who are trying to catch up with you after your great careers, and I mean great. We're zooming here with two players who collectively have six all conference team memberships. It's interesting to note, Ashley Beverly Kelley, the Sun Belt Conference tournament in 2016, that really compelling one that got it started. ABK was the tournament MVP in 2016. Caitlyn Ramirez, tournament MVP the next year in 2017 when Troy repeated. I got that sitting on my bookcase back there. Ashley, you started at Troy in 2012 out of
Yes.
Adamsville at a minor, I believe. What was it? And I'm going to ask Caitlyn the same thing. Caitlyn had a year in junior college. What was it that sold you on Coach Rigby and the staff and Troy University? Can you remember back at that time?
Yes. Well, at first, I wasn't necessarily recruited by Coach Rigby. I was recruited by Coach Watson at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw me playing at an AAU tournament, and they asked if I wanted to come on a visit. And I came. I fell in love with the players at the time, Dominique Ross and Brooke Bowie. Um, they just brought me in. They made me feel like I was at home. At the time, is it Sartain? Is that
Yeah,
what was the name of the old gym
that's
that they
it.
just?
Oh
Trojan
my,
Arena, the old
ABK,
Sartain.
it has not been that long now.
I'm sorry. I have to remember. So Sartain. That
Which
was
is a
the gym
parking
at the
lot,
time.
obviously, right now.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a while back.
That was the gym at the time. I came. I love playing basketball, period. So when I saw them practice, I was like, I can definitely see myself coming here. At the time, arena wasn't built just yet. They took me over there, and they're like, look, you could be the first freshman in here to win something. So I'm like, shoot, yeah, I'm going to come here. And it's not too far away from home because I'm from Birmingham.
Right.
So I just fell in love. And then over the summertime, I found out that the coaches got released. And I was like, oh, man, am I going to be able to still keep my scholarship or whatnot? And then I found out who the new coaches were. And immediately, Coach Graff, still doing what she's doing now, on top of it, making sure everybody's paperwork is there and the workouts that we would have to do. And I met them, and I just fell in love, especially with Coach Rigby's background, being a Christian and all. And I fell in love with her faith, and our faith connected. And I know that their season, their record and stuff wasn't exactly what, I wanted to be a part of, but I knew that I can make a difference with my work ethic, with my determination. And from that point on, me and Coach Rigby clicked. Every year we tried to transition from what Coach Watson and their program, what they had going on, what they believed in, and we believed in Coach Rigby's. We want to play fast pace and get as most points as possible, and we just took off from there.
Caitlyn, we remember, you came from Tyler, which has turned into a really strong relationship with Troy women's basketball. Since you got here, you spent a year at Tyler out of Shawnee, Oklahoma. You got hurt in high school, Caitlyn?
I did. Yes, that is correct. That was a tough part in my life. That was a really, really big tough part. It was my senior year. I'm going to back it up a little bit. It's the beginning of my high school altogether. So my freshman and sophomore year in high school, I went to a school in Holdenville. It's little bitty. When I say there, I had a graduating class of 12. I really had a graduating class of 12 at that time.
My goodness.
So it was super, super tiny. And then my grandmother ended up passing away, which in a way she's like the one who kept the family together. There's always that one who kept someone together, the whole family together, and that was her. So at that point, I ended up moving back to Shawnee, and that was a struggle itself because, the hardships of having to get approved and be able to come back. You can't just change schools just like that. So I went through a little struggle. So I started at Shawnee High School. I was super, super terrified because Shawnee High School itself is a culture shock. Because I went from having 12 in my class, now I have 500 kids in my class.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a huge culture shock. But Coach Wells, and I still am super grateful, and I still talk to her till this day. She is a game changer in my life because we always have that one coach or that one mentor, and I know for a fact ABK can for sure relate to that because Coach Wells is the one. She actually played WNBA for a couple of years. She played for the LA Sparks. At the time, her name was Wendy Willits.
I know who that is. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Her. She still is the high school coach there at Shawnee High School, and she's coaching my sister now. And so she was super grateful, and I was highly recruited beginning my senior year because we had a great year my junior year. We made it all
29-0. Right?
Yes. Well, that was my senior year.
Okay. All right.
That was my senior year. But so we made it all the way to the Final Four my junior year, which is great. So then at the time, my senior year, we had 3 Division I players, including me. So we were picked to win it all. We were top seed all the way through. It was my senior year, first scrimmage and I'll never forget, remember like it was yesterday. It was our first scrimmage playing against Frontier High School. We were in warm-up. We were just doing 3-on-2 drill, half court, back, pass, go for a layup. Simple. Going up for a layup, and I got hit on the side of my knee, and I ended up tearing my ACL. And I was benched for that whole year, my senior year. And whenever you get, hurt, like I said, if you're not healthy, a lot of colleges they just backed off completely. And I had a verbal commitment to University of Tulsa in Oklahoma. Absolute beautiful campus. I fell in love with the campus. And then after that, tore my ACL, and they just backed off completely. So I was panicking because I was like, now what, college gets expensive, so I was like, now I didn't know what to do. So like I said, Coach Wells, she definitely made some phone calls because she used to play at the University of Arkansas. Razorbacks. And so when she played there, Coach Trina Tillis, she was the assistant coach there. So now she's a head coach at Tyler Junior College. So in all of that long story,
right,
it came down to Coach Wells helping me out to give Coach T a call, who we called Coach Trina Tillis Jones, head coach at Tyler Junior College in Tyler, Texas. So my first year I redshirted because I was terrified to get back into it. So she worked with me. Then I played my sophomore year. That's when Coach C kind of came in and swooped me up.
What was it like for you, your first exposure to Troy, Caitlyn? What was it about Troy that appealed to you?
Of course, the coaches. I remember when I first came in, I actually watched ABK in their practice.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I said, again, this is a while back. I didn't know ABK. I said, look at that little bit. She's got some handles. And Coach C was like, yeah, she's getting ready to come in here and, change up the game a little bit. And I was just like, oh, okay. So I knew I had 1 year with her. And I always thought having a connection with the point guard is the most important thing, especially being a post player.
Right.
So I just was like, okay. So I kept asking Coach C about, ABK and who's all going to be there for the following year while I was going to be there. So whenever she had told me everybody who's going to be there, I then showed me the campus. Then after that, she showed me the education because I wanted to be a criminal justice major. And whenever all of that just lined up, I was like, I fell in love with Troy University. And ever since then, I'm super grateful for it. And I decided to stay.
Well, and it has been, it was a transitional period for women's basketball. And I'm going to ask each this question as well. I talked with Coach Rigby yesterday and told her I was going to talk with Ashley, Beverly, Kelley, and Caitlyn Ramirez. And like everything else with Coach Rigby, she was super excited. She's like super excited when the sunrise happens.
Yeah.
And she told me, she said recently that the three players that she has coached that have truly, more than anybody else, built themselves to be great players. One of them was Ashley Beverly Kelley. One of them was Caitlyn Ramirez. And one of them was Jennifer Graff.
Wow.
Those were the three from the.
We made it, ABK. We made it.
Top three.
That's not a shock to those of you who have seen you play. And people think that at that level, people talk about, ABK's, like you said, her handles and her speed and her ability and her athleticism, and Caitlyn, your size and your ability to play inside, outside, your passing and all that kind of stuff, as though it's just athletic ability. At this level, there's a lot of hard work that I don't think people give a whole bunch of credit to. Ashley, does that make sense to you?
Oh my goodness, you have no idea.
I don't.
Well, for me, it was tough because before I got to college, I wasn't a point guard. I was a 2. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't necessarily comfortable with having the ball in my hands as far as like running plays and stuff. And when I got to Troy, it was Coach Kayla Ard. She was my position coach at the time. Mm-hmm. And she was like, okay, I want you to come in. I want you to defend the best player and stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, well, Coach, I can score too. I don't want to just be a defensive threat. And so from that point on, I just worked out with my, she played the year before, Tania Manuel. She became my friend. She was still taking summer classes. And then I went with her to the Troy Rec, and I saw a guy there, and I met my fiance now at the time.
Aww.
Yeah. So I met him there, and I was like, man, he's good. But at the time, I wasn't trying to, have a boyfriend or anything, but he wanted to help me genuinely. He helped me with my handles, and he actually just molded me to become a point guard. I know I was in the gym more than the janitors were. There were even times where Coach C would tell me, hey, you probably need to go home right now. Or after the game, after we play, she was like, you just played a game, you need to get off your feet. So I sit down in a chair and I just continued to shoot. So I wasn't on my feet.
She also told me that she would tell you, you got to get off your feet. Maybe you're overdoing it. She said that's when you bought a bicycle.
I surely did. And then I became faster. And Coach Rigby was really amazed. She was like, "What have you been doing?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing, just riding my bike to the Florida line." And she was like, "What?" And I actually had Coach C ride the bike with me, but if you ask her right now if she wanted to ride a bike,
she was not happy about that ride.
I have a few choice words for you. So, yeah, that's just,
I remember that.
It takes a lot of work if you want to play at the next level, even if you want to have a good career in college.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlyn, your experience in that, just the work ethic that it's necessary to achieve the things you've done.
Right. Well, mine's a little bit different than ABK's because, of course, she's just the point guard. She was the two of the team. Well, I'm on the opposite of that. I'm playing the 4 or the 5. Well, big girls got to get up and down the court. So Coach Graff would always work with me. Mine was more so of what can I do to make myself better. So mine was just more of in the weight room. I didn't have to worry more so about my handles because, let's be real, 4 or 5's not going to just call plays coming down the court. So mine was more so in the weight room because you've got to be the big body that somebody needs. So ABK can rely on me to get the rebounds, to
always
to get the rebounds and kick it back out so she can get another shot. So mine was more so of cardio. Mine was hitting the weight room. Mine was always doing something with the strength and conditioning coach. And sometimes I'd ask Graff of, what are some better ways? And I've even asked Coach C, what are some better ways that I can get a shot, a quicker release whenever shooting. So I always, and Coach C had told me, put it on 1 and 2 anytime we shot off the gun. And I was like,
yeah,
he said, aim to shoot or make. We don't just shoot, aim to make 150 on 1 and 2. That don't seem like much, but when you have 1 second and 2 seconds to have a quick
fast.
Release, it's repetitive and it's super, super fast. But that was something I wanted to do so that I can become a better player. And it was a process. It probably took me a good 2 hours because I was just so exhausted. And it was just like I would go run, I would go do the weight room, then I would go shoot because, fourth quarter, that's crunch time.
Right.
You gotta dig deep and you got gut check time, so you're gonna be tired when it comes to the fourth quarter. So that's why I did everything before and then go shoot because you gotta shoot when you're tired. Because you got to use your legs more, you got to use your arms more, you got to use your upper body more. So you got to adjust your shot. And it just came down to I had to make myself better at the end of the day. And, being in the weight room is what helped me out.
This is all really compelling stuff. Visiting here, Lunch with Legends with Ashley Beverly Kelley and Caitlyn Ramirez. Let me take you back. This was one of the more exciting moments that I've ever had in all the broadcasts I've done in Troy. Let me take you back to New Orleans in 2016.
Woo!
That seems so long ago.
It really does.
It doesn't seem that way to me because I remember it like it was yesterday. In 2016, everybody talks about the end of the conference tournament and the win over Little Rock, but really there was you won in the first round against South Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody was saying, well, here comes Arkansas State. It's not going to happen. You win that game. And then you go against Little Rock, and Little Rock has been a standard bearer in the league in women's basketball for a while. And you win that game at the very end. And I was up there in the broadcast booth calling that game on radio, and I've gotten so much response for my call. Ashley Beverly Kelley hits a little pull-up jumper just inside the free throw line to go up 61-60. And then, Caitlyn, you had a huge block right at the very end. Let's start with chronologically, I guess, the shot from Ashley Beverly Kelley. Can you talk about the mindset of that shot?
Well,
Coach Rigby said nobody deserved to take that shot more than Ashley Beverly Kelley deserved to take that shot.
Well, that shot, it's a lot to it because even the previous years, during situations like that, I would pass the ball. And it wasn't because I was afraid to take the shot. It was just that I just saw somebody else open and I thought, well, maybe they're wide open. They don't have anybody on them, so I can pass it to them. And then it was a lot of times where Coach C pulled me to the side, and she was like, look, if you continue to pass the ball, we're probably not going to give you situations where you have the last shot. And so that was my junior year. The summer of my senior year, I used to play at the rec all the time, and my fiance, he would be like, okay, at the end of the game, I'm gonna give you the ball no matter what, you have to score. Now this is against guys who's like 6'7" and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, sure. And that's what I did all summer. And here comes that play. We had a timeout before, I'm not sure exactly what time. And Coach C pulled me to the side, and she was like, you better not let this team lose. So in my mind, I'm already afraid because the game is close. And then Coach C just said what she just said. And I'm not sure if it was Clarissa or Arjaya. They got the ball. They passed it to me. I was on the wing. I was like, okay, either I'm going to go now. I'm going to wait until it's the end of the game. Like, the time is running down. So I'm like, no, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to shoot this at the free throw line, and then that'll give us time. That'll put pressure on them. I took it. I was excited, and in the moment, it was just like I finally did it. I celebrated a little bit, and then I was like, oh, shoot, okay, yeah, we have to go back on defense. So I got myself together. We were on defense. I don't know why their coach didn't call a timeout. And then Caitlyn blocked the shot. I ran over to Amanda. I probably knocked her down. And then I saw my mama coming from the stands. I'm like, where did you come from?
Your mama jumped the rail, ABK.
Jumped the rail.
I remember that.
I was just so happy. I think I was hyperventilating as well. But I recorded the whole thing. I made sure that I vlogged that weekend, and we won.
Oh, you did record everything at that whole trip. You're right.
Your perspective on that final sequence in 2016, Caitlyn?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm super, super grateful because every time ABK and I worked out from that summer, it was just, I felt like it was just meant to be. That game wasn't my best game, but when it came down to that last second, I knew there was a reason why. So I can, share this moment with someone who I worked so hard for all summer long and all preseason long and all season long. So to be honest with you, for me, it gets like tunnel vision.
Right.
So I wasn't even aware of the clock. I was so tuned in with the game. I knew it was close. I knew it was 2 points, 3 points all the way through the whole entire game. So I knew it was close. So as soon as ABK made the shot, I was just like, all right. I knew we had less than 30 seconds. I knew we didn't have a lot of time left. So I knew, play your best last seconds of the game. And that's exactly what I was striving for. It didn't matter what was going on. I didn't want to score 50 points that game. As long as I can do something defensively during that time, that's what matters because we hear it all the time, defense wins games all the time. And so that's what it came. So as soon as ABK shot that shot, I see her celebrating. Then I started to get excited. And then I was like, oh, wait, like she said, wait, we still have defense. We still got to continue to play. And so then we got back, and again, I cannot remember her name, but she was just dribbling around, and she was looking for a way to hurry up and score as well. And she kept looking at the coach. She had no idea what to do, and I kept looking at the coach too, like, you're going to call a timeout, or you're just going to keep playing. And so next thing I know, she dribbles to her left side, and I can't remember who it was at the time, but I think it was Clarissa maybe. She had Clarissa Banks. She had moved out the way, and so next thing I know, I just see her coming, and I was like, just don't foul. Yep, let her score, but don't foul at the same time, because that it could have went one or two ways by the way the refs are calling it that day. So I just knew how to get the ball, and once whenever I got the shot, then I had to secure the ball. Then I hear the buzzer, and I see ABK taking off, and I think I threw the ball up. I'm not really sure. I was excited at that point.
61-60, you win the tournament, tournament champions, NCAA that year. Ashley Beverly Kelley was tournament MVP. The next year that was unexpected. The next year, target on the back, Caitlyn, defending champions, NCAA tournament team. The next year in 2017, back down to New Orleans for the Sun Belt tournament. You were tournament MVP there. You beat Louisiana in the championship game there. And I looked at the line score of that game, Caitlyn. I think you scored 5 points. You didn't take but maybe 6 shots,
Right.
but you had 13 rebounds
Right.
in that game. The next year, the ability to repeat from 2016 to 2017 really was meaningful in the evolution of this Troy women's basketball program.
Right. In the beginning, everybody was just like, oh, she's not ABK. She doesn't have the leadership that ABK has. And I had big shoes to fill when ABK graduated and, she left. Everybody's just like, well, what are you going to do? Like, what are your leadership skills and how are you going to carry 15 girls on the team? And I was just like, listen, I've been doubted my whole life. Okay. So that's what fuels a competitor, so if you doubt someone or you just don't have the faith or believe in them, then that's kind of where like, okay, well, let me prove you wrong, So I stated to the media when we had it up in stadium between men's basketball and women's basketball, they're just like, what are your plans? I believe it was in the summertime. And I just told them, I said, listen, I know I have some really big shoes to fill with ABK being gone, but I'm willing to work hard. I'm willing to bring the leadership that I need to have for this team to be able to go for another championship. Because we were absolutely capable of winning. We just had to build the chemistry, but that came with preseason, that came with season, so we won a lot of games and we lost a few, but that was able for us to, all right, we cannot lose another game, so that's whenever we start building up, and our bond all together with the team was just great. And I just knew we don't have just 7 players. Troy has never just had 7 dominant players. Coach Rigby's great at recruiting, Coach Graff, Coach C, Coach Neal, they're all great at recruiting. So you can play 15 players at a time. ABK and I have studied so many scouting reports. It's only been 7 to 8 players that you've had to study. Well, when you play against Troy, you have 15 players you have to study. So I believe who was Tia Fields-Me stepped up there during that game, and she played a really, really big game. And she, that was her moment, and she, at that time, she carried the team. And all I can do is just be supportive, because I believe I was in foul trouble as well. So I mean, I'm just super grateful that I had other teammates to rely on to be able to help me carry the team as well.
Your senior year was in 17. ABK, your senior year was in 16. Here it is, 2020. We look back on all of that with a little time for reflection. Not much, because you guys have both been super busy since your college careers were over with. Again, starting with ABK, when you look back with a couple of years of reflection of all that, what really did Troy, your experience at Troy, now that you look back on it, what has it meant to you?
It's meant a lot. I feel like I've grown, especially in the leadership department. I usually just lead by example, but after having Coach C on the coaching staff, she made me become more vocal and show more emotion too, because I really didn't show a lot of emotion. But once I got more teammates who I felt comfortable with and I felt like I trusted, I just feel like I was becoming my own person. And it's helped me overseas and stuff, especially with the work ethic and the mental part of the game especially. If it wasn't for the coaching staff and stuff, all of them, to be honest, Coach Rigby helping me grow in my faith, Coach Graff helping me be more organized, Coach C being there for me to talk to, and Coach Neal, we were going on ice cream dates. So just me pouring myself into them and growing, it's helped me a lot, and I've just enjoyed it, and I'm still growing now.
Yeah. For Coach Neal, it wasn't that much of a sacrifice for him to go get ice cream with you. I'll just go ahead and tell you that. What about you, Caitlyn? With your experience?
Now, with Coach Nell, he always wanted to take me ice cream. I'm not an ice cream person. So I was like, rain check, Coach Nell. Let's just go shoot in the gym or something.
Yeah, you're
But
still, you're still around. You're still,
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. You and I, like I said, have worked games together before. So
Right.
you're still around, and NBK as well. But now that you look back on it a little bit, your playing career and your evolution as a player and a person, tell us a little bit about what Troy's role has been in that for you, Caitlyn.
Troy has been an amazing, amazing impact for the better on my life. I was, growing up, I look back, I'm a first generation, even having a bachelor's degree or even a master's degree at that. So to be able to kind of set that standard, for my siblings, I'm super grateful because I couldn't have done it without Troy University. I couldn't have done it without the coaching staff. Coach Graff was my position coach, so she was super, super hard on me. Coach Graff isn't like, lovey-dovey, comforting type. She's a tough love type because she knows she can push you past the standards that you are holding, that you're holding yourself back from. And so Coach C is the same way. Coach Neal, I can go to Coach Neal anytime and just say, hey, listen, I just need to talk. And I said, I don't need you to be my coach right now. I just need you to listen. Yeah. And Coach Rigby, she knew I was far from home, and she always would want to go have dinner or something just so she can make me feel. I mean, of course we're all family, but of course she's a mom as well. So she played a huge role on comforting me and allowing me to be okay being far from home, because that was one thing that I was really, really worried about whenever I was committing to Troy. But Troy didn't just make me a professional basketball player. Coach C strives with detail, so.
My goodness, that word.
When I say detail, she does mean detail. We had to have matching socks for practice. I love Coach C for it because that detail carries over into my career now. Like it really, really does. From the time I got to type out paperwork, it doesn't matter. But Coach Graff, of course, I got to agree with ABK, organization. Like that, she's so organized. She's so professional. Everything that she does. Coach C pays attention to detail. Coach Neal, I love Coach Neal. He just wants to enjoy life, and that's where you get that from. Coach Rigby, so big on faith, regardless of whatever it may be. So Troy University really had a huge blessing, impact, all for the better, because it didn't just prepare me to be an athlete, it prepared me to be a woman in this world, to have a great career, all because of a Troy University college degree.
That's wonderful stuff. In closing, about a minute, Ashley, Beverly, Kelley, I know people are going to be watching this, particularly young players. Tell us a little bit more about love handles, because I've seen the videos on Facebook. I've seen the work that you've done, and I know a lot of people are going to want to find out a little bit more about it. It's been from looking at the videos, it's been a blessing to a lot of young players.
Yes, a lot here in the United States and here over in France. So we started it. My fiance, he's always been training people ever since he was in college. And when I was in school, he actually came up with the name Love Handles. He was in the gym, and a little guy was passing by. He was dribbling 3 basketballs, and he was like, "Man, you love handles, don't you?" And then he was like, "Wait a minute, love handles." And so his father is a pastor, and God is love, and God handles everything, so love handles. And we just started from there. We started working in Geneva with kids because his high school coach is there he's the boys coach there now. Mm-hmm. And all the other schools in the local area, they've asked him to come and give back, and we've just started there. And then when I went over to France, I trained the kids there. And it's helped me a lot. And I know that it's very important now, especially with the game evolving. Everybody knows how to handle a basketball, and it makes you more valuable. It builds confidence. The more that you can do with a basketball, the more that you can do. And if anybody steps in front of you, it's just like, oh, really? You're here? And that helped me, especially my senior year. I was so confident. And so right now, the videos that you see, it was for our kids because of the coronavirus. We weren't able to get into the gym and stuff. Mm-hmm. So we actually, him and I, we came up with challenges like him competing against me,
Mhm.
and we come up with different dribbling things and see like how many can you complete this within 5 minutes. And it's really been burning my legs, but it's also helping me stay in shape too as well. And the kids, if they see you doing it, it's just like, okay, I can do it too. So we're just trying to make sure that we get the youth more active and just spread the love that we have for the game and the knowledge, and just continue to grow from there.
This is all wonderful stuff. Truly legends, transitional players in Troy women's basketball history, and transitional young ladies as well. Caitlyn, Ramirez, Ashley, Beverly, Kelley. Ladies, it has been so much fun. Thank you for joining us.
Our pleasure.
Of course, my pleasure.